Alright, so if we're going to evaluate Freud's theory and perhaps other psychodynamic theories, let's take a look. Well, with Freud, clearly there was, you can make the case that there's way too much emphasis on what's going on early in life. Again, people who followed Freud, including Erik Erikson, really studied what is going on in adulthood that's important. And there is a lot of people who look at Erikson's later stages, generativity, and the stages generativity, stagnation, integrity versus despair, and so on, that are really focused on what is going on in adulthood and older adulthood. And so perhaps the early experience may be a bit overemphasized with Freud. Also, again, a little bit too much on the unconscious. I mean, how much really is our personality, our decisions, and whatnot consciously made? Freud would really say, no, it's all coming from the unconscious. You may be distorting it, whatever, but it's coming from the unconscious. And I think perhaps it's a little too much emphasis on that. There's also a lot, again, you can make the case there's certainly too much influence on the sexual instincts, this sex drive coming from the id all the way from infancy. Another important aspect of this theory is that it really can't be tested, or at least not tested very easily. How are you going to be able to test the existence or what is going on in someone's unconscious? If they can't say what it is, how do we know it's there? So a lot of these, the concepts, whatever, really can't be directly tested. On the other hand, Freud has made some enormous contributions to the study of personality. Really, perhaps Freud overemphasized early childhood experiences, but maybe many others have seriously underestimated the importance of what is going on in childhood, and not realizing that the people who we are as adults, a lot of it has to do with what went on as children. And of course, another contribution is the argument, which seems to have some validity, that our development proceeds in stages. It's not just we're like little people and then we become big people. There are stages of development in which certain issues might be particularly important, certain areas of our body might be important, certain aspects of development are important at each stage. Finally, something else to consider is we can talk about the unconscious and saying, well, maybe it has too big of an influence, but really, the unconscious really does have an influence on us, or at least we could say unconscious processes. There are a lot of things that we do that we are unaware of. There are a lot of behaviors that we learn to do, and we may not even realize we're doing it, but we do them. Furthermore, if you think about the process of selective attention, we are exposed to stimuli all the time, but we only consciously respond to a small aspect of it. On the other hand, there is evidence that we nevertheless do sense those stimuli. If you remember, like the gorilla test, if you remember from sensation and perception, if you miss the gorilla walks across the screen, you don't remember seeing it, but nevertheless you did see it, you just didn't perceive it. So perhaps in some way you unconsciously saw it, but not consciously.